Hi, I'm Jim Butte. Built this space battleship Yamato. It's based on, I guess, the old cartoon Star Blazers from the 70s. I used to run home from school and watch that show. My son and I were looking for something, clever with lots of curves to build. We both like ships and stuff, and so this has got all the gun turrets and all that. And we saw one on the internet that was a little bit smaller than this, and we said, hey, if they just scaled it up just a little bit more, then there's so many things that would have fallen into place with the turrets and the engines and stuff. So we went to work and we built it up.
This is quite an extensive build here. How long is this exactly?
A little over 6 feet. And again, you guys probably are familiar with this. When you build something this big, it'll collapse of its own weight if you don't put some structure in there. So inside, of course, it's a big old rainbow build, and there's one big solid 8x8 beam that kind of supports it, and that's the strength that holds all this together. And then to get these curves, you kind of got to build out sideways, and then to get the bottom curve, you put hinges in, and you're putting the little bitty curves together to make one big curve. And then the rest is just buying lots and lots of gray slopes and lots of red tile. And, that stuff happens. What else do you want to know about it? I'm sorry.
So when you first kind of started with this build, did you make blueprints or sketches for this, or how'd that kind of work as you were planning the process and started building?
So I went to the internet and looked for, if you can get a good picture on the internet where they give you that side view and the top view, preferably at the same scale, then you can just say, okay, I've got a picture that's, 8 inches long. I want it to be about as big as this table. So, okay, I multiply everything by 8 or whatever. And so then you break out the ruler and say, okay, that's about 1 inch across, so it needs to be 8 inches across, and that's a 1/2 inch, so that needs to be 4 inches, So just scaled up from a drawing that you found on the internet.
Was it difficult to get the shape of the hole correct with kind of all those slope pieces and everything? Did you have to mess around with that?
There was a little bit of math and a whole lot of trial and error. I made the mistake of building a smooth hull, and then I had to go back and reverse an engineer put these lumps on it, because it's full of lumps and warts and bubbles and things. So I was kicking myself. I struggled to make that curve smooth, and then I had to put this bubble on top of that smooth curve that I finally achieved. So trial and error. It took us about 2 months. It was a rush job. About 2.5 months ago, we started looking at it oh man, at this rate, this is going to be done a month after BrickFair, and my wife's not going to tolerate me keeping this around the house for a year. So, okay, full speed ahead, and we worked on it, pretty much every night. We'd spend an hour or two on it. So it's a rush job. Don't look too close. I mean, there's crazy room inside there for motors and stuff. I've got gear trains in here, but I don't have them hooked up to anything because I just didn't have time for that. And there's lots of room for lights and stuff in the inside, but didn't have time for that. And unfortunately, we don't have any science fiction. Our MOC, the hard lug guy. I'm sorry, our lug, the hard lug guys. We do science fiction shows, we do airplane shows, and we do boat shows. So those are the kind of MOCs I build. We don't have any science fiction shows coming up. So I think after tomorrow night, we get to break this thing, and I get to make an aircraft carrier out of it. So, and I think we're going to break it by smacking that thing into that thing and see which one's stronger.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm running at the mouth here.
Oh no, I think that should be pretty awesome. Yeah, very cool. So is this build pretty strong when you move it into the show and stuff? Does that stay together pretty well?
This one was, I learned a lot of things I shouldn't do from that thing onto this thing. So yeah, this is pretty much one big piece. I mean, you take off things that you can to make it lighter, because I think it's like 50 pounds of plastic here. So yeah, it's kind of one big monolithic thing that I can carry in with a bunch of stuff I stick on afterwards.